Mary Welch, a 10-month-old infant, died of malnutrition and dehydration in her Michigan home on August 2, 2018. Mary's parents, Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari, call 911 when they discover Mary deceased in her bed the morning of August 2nd. Seth and Tatiana are brought in for questioning. This is Tatiana's interrogation.
Little noises and...
So, obviously the same with all of us, with the pictures and stuff. So, like, you have pictures of Mary, like, in her rocker, sitting upright, all that kind of stuff, and are those on your phone, on a camera, on a Google Drive?
They're on my phone.
On your phone, okay. We didn't grab that, though, right? You
no,
didn't take that? Okay.
I wasn't even sure where it was. I'm not on it very much. It's just like sit down.
Use it as a camera, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, sits on the rocker, everyone else is cleaning up the, doing our normal nightly routines. So then, what's next?
So then, getting exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
She said she usually has adventurous days.
Yeah.
So, I maybe around 7-ish, 7 to 8, always depends, obviously. So that's why I'm giving you a broad hour.
Yep.
I put her down for bed, so I'd nurse her maybe 10 minutes just to put her to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put her straight to bed without nursing, she'll get a little fussy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put her to, I nurse her, burp her, and then check just make sure she needs to be changed. She's dry, place her down. And then I close the door, and then the kids will have their bath and put their PJs on, and then they go to bed.
So you nurse, burp her, check her diaper. So now that feeding, no solid foods?
No, that
okay.
was,
So that's just a quick 10-minute nursing off the bed.
And that was like an hour after dinner, so eating so much.
Yep.
Just to kind of knock her out.
So then that takes us again then back to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And we start the day over.
Yep. She would sleep all night. So that was quite a blessing for me.
And has that routine ever changed, or has that the routine that you were still on?
That routine remained consistent until she started going through her growth spurt, which has been recently, where she, actually, now that I think about it, a few weeks after that, she was going through her 6-month growth spurt.
Okay.
And she would sleep so much, and
So when you say it's growth spurt,
oh,
did she get much longer?
Yes,
did she
much fuller.
So she got chubbier?
Her cheeks did.
Okay.
And she was feeling into her clothes better. I mean, I was excited to put her in a new outfit.
So when you say her cheeks got chubbier, would you then describe her cheeks if you were to look at her as a baby and say, she got chubby cheeks, or just chubbier than they once were?
Chubbier than they once were.
Okay. And she got longer.
Yeah.
And so she was born at 20 inches.
Mm-hmm.
What did you, I don't know if you measured or not, but what would be your ballpark as to what she sprouted out to?
Maybe another 2 inches.
Okay. So was that the first time she grew?
No, there was a 3-month period, but that was just, she was an infant, she was sleeping a lot anyway, so it wasn't very noticeable, but because she was barely sleeping during the day at this point and sleeping through the night, we noticed that she was sleeping a lot longer during the day, waking up later, and she'd take longer. So just, great.
Yeah.
And then
so,
that phase ended.
So when you, do you weigh and measure your kids on a regular basis?
No. When
okay.
she'd come and do checkups for the kids.
When was? And so then after the 3-month checkup, do you guys have a routine that you do to check up on the kids, or just as needed if they're sick, if they're not sick?
It's as needed.
Okay.
I do have, although I did have a weight blanket, and it was, I had a little scale, and there were like grommets on the end of the blanket that you hook onto the scale, so I could put. But
what's the most you ever had her weighing that you can recall?
12 pounds, 14 pounds, but it was It was a while ago because the cat got to it.
Okay, so she weighed 14 pounds at about what age?
6 months.
6 months. Okay. And that was during, before, or after this
Before
growth?
the growth spurt.
Oh, so 14 pounds before the growth spurt. So you would, what, as a mom, what would you guess her weight that she would have gained?
After the growth spurt,
Yeah.
maybe another 3, 4 pounds.
So
Maybe not even. Let's go with 2.
2. And again, I'm just asking you to guess things that you don't know. I'm
Yeah.
really here nor there, but I'm just wanting to know just the kind of ballpark as to what you think at least. So you would guess her to weigh 16 pounds at the conclusion of her growth spurt.
Yeah, she definitely felt like it.
Okay. And so you say she started sleeping more just after this routine started.
Yeah. And that was only for about a week, and then I suppose, ended her growth spurt and then went back to her regular routine.
She slept more for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say she slept more for 1 week, what do you mean by that? She slept from when to when?
For example, if I put her down at 7, she wouldn't get up until 10. And her naps would be, instead of 2 hours, 4. She's had a 6-hour nap before during this growth spurt, and we would always just check. But
how would you check her?
The door I don't close all the way.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a hole in the door that I put there because I'm not very savvy with tools, and I hit the door with a hammer. So there's a big hammer hole there. So I use it as a peephole.
Good idea.
I also don't close the door fully just because the humidity swells the doors, and I don't want it to lock shut.
Yeah.
So it's closed, but not completely. So I'll push it a little, and every time I push it, she won't wake up, but she'll jerk. So I'll see movement, and then I'll peek at her, and I'll see her movement.
You just see like a little bit of a flinch.
Yes. And then she also had a little music player that shone like blue light, so I could see her face, and I could see her breathing. And
So, did you do that with all your kids? Okay.
Yeah.
Were all your kids in the same bedroom?
When they were infants, yeah.
Okay. Did they all sleep in the same crib?
Yeah.
Okay. And so did that crib ever get removed out of that bedroom, or is that crib always there?
No, it was removed because he was an infant in that room with that crib, and they removed it to put his big boy bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for at about her 6-month mark, which would have been February, March, April, so in April-ish, she had 1 week of sleeping a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But then after that 1 week, she went back to the basic schedule that we just discussed.
Yeah.
And did her schedule ever change again?
Not until recently, which I thought she was going through her 9-month growth spurt. She was sleeping a lot lately.
So recently, her schedule changed again. And when you say recently, about when-ish was that?
3 days ago.
Oh, 3 days ago. Okay. So 3 days ago, what happened then?
We would.
So today is Thursday. So Tuesday, was it Monday? Tuesday. You remember what day that you would specifically remember it changing, or you don't have a specific recollection of it?
I don't. But I know I didn't have work. We can say Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday sounds fine.
So tell me what you noticed.
She got up at 9 o'clock in the morning. You were so tired, weren't you?
And she went to bed when? The night before that?
7 o'clock.
Okay. So she got up at 09 after going to bed at 7.
Mm-hmm. And it just reminded me of when she was 6 months old. It seemed consistent. Then she would eat like crazy, and then she would doze off again, like she was ready for bed immediately after eating. So I just, okay, it's consistent with the other children and with her 6-month-old growth spurt, so I put her down and she'd sleep for about 3 hours, get up again, eat, and it seemed like she wanted to go to bed, but I kept her up, and she hung out and was interactive, smiling, but then she'd start to fuss because she wanted to go back to bed. She was just very tired, and she only likes to sleep in her bed. She'll sleep in the car or the truck, but.
So 3 days ago, did things happen enough that we could establish the routine? Was she on a 3-day routine? Like we just established 2 different routines that she was on.
Mm-hmm.
Did she have a routine the last 3 days? Or
no, it was a bit erratic because
okay.
I would try and keep her up just because I was worried that she was sleeping so much.
Mm-hmm.
But when she wanted to sleep, she wanted to sleep.
Was she eating?
Yes, very well. And the Sunday before last, we went to Golden Corral, and she just feasted. She really liked the marshmallow sweet potatoes.
So you thought this was a growth spurt, and is that because you noticed her growing again?
Yes, and I remembered with my other 2 children this.
So at 6 months, we were.
Yeah.
And so at this 9-month growth spurt, how much were you guessing her at then?
Maybe 20.
Okay. And when was the last time that you thought she was 20 pounds? Yesterday, okay. And yesterday, when you thought she was 20 pounds, how long would you have guessed her to be?
Her legs would wrap around my waist. She's quite long.
Because she was born at 20 inches, right?
Mm-hmm. So her head here, and she would just wrap around the side there. So 26 inches maybe.
Okay.
Quite long.
So these last 3 days that she was going through a growing spurt, you were off from work Tuesday, and that's the first day that you noticed that?
Yes. And then I went to work yesterday. I had work. And she does have a different schedule when I go to work. If you need to make note of that.
Yes. What's that?
So in the morning she gets up at 7 along with the other children. Breakfast for her and for everyone. And that would be nursing and nursing for about half hour while the kids ate. And then oatmeal. Oatmeal with maybe some maple syrup in it, or oatmeal with strawberries in it. Just depends.
Spoon oatmeal or oatmeal mixed in a bottle?
Spoon.
Okay.
Nice and chunky for her.
Okay.
And then I'd keep her up, and she would be awake until I had to go to work. So she'd be awake, then it was time to go outside and help Daddy with the fields. And we'd do weeding, or I'd sit Mary in her stroller, and she'd just sit and watch the ducks and just laugh at them. So
you didn't work, was it 7 that you started?
I'm sorry, what?
You start your day again, was it 7 o'clock that you started your day?
In the morning, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, your work day, on your days of work, what time did you start?
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 p.m. So you'd keep her awake from 7 till 3?
To 2:30.
Till 2:30.
Yeah.
And so during that time that she was kept awake, how many other meals did she have?
About 4, possibly, yeah.
So
one of them was just nursing.
Well, the 7 o'clock one was breakfast. It was nursing for 30 minutes, oatmeal with some maple syrup or fruit, whatever you had around. So when would the next meal then be on this different routine day?
Oh, probably about when the kids would usually want a snack around 9. So it would be then. She'd eat maybe 9:30, 10. And that was when it'd be quiet time for the kids. So the kids would go in their room and they could read, they could sit in their bed quietly. Mm-hmm. And that's Mama's an entire hour.
Okay.
And then if the kids were getting too restless, then, time to go back outside. Or they'd have to clean their room. It just depends.
Yeah.
But for yesterday, the kids, we went back outside. It was just so nice out. So we went. She likes it keeps her quiet if you go for walks in the stroller. So we just went up and down the driveway. We checked the mail. We picked up garbage. the wind will blow garbage from other places sometimes. Helped Daddy with the weeding. We cut some weeds for the goat, and then, I mean, that's another couple hours, and then it'd be about maybe 2:15, or no, I'm sorry, it'd be about 1:30.
So the last time she would have ate would have been 1:30 yesterday in the afternoon?
No, I'd feed her again at 1:30, and then
What was that feeding?
nursing and some oatmeal.
How long was that nursing?
The nursing was about 20 minutes. The oatmeal took longer because she was about 8 ounces of oatmeal. And then I would, I think the kids were just still outside. I just resting my feet before work because I'm just standing for 8 hours.
That was at 1:30?
Yeah. So then, 2:30 was when Mary would finish eating. 2:30 was the end of it, and that's when I would change her diaper again and put her down.
Poopy diaper.
Yesterday morning, when I got her up for the day.
Have you noticed a decline in poopy diapers?
No. No, not at all. So this is such a surprise to me. I mean, this morning, when I got her up, she had spit up, and I just...
So yesterday morning, when you got her up at 7, she had spit up?
No, this morning.
Oh, this morning.
At 9, when I got her up, when I tried to get her up.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she choked on her spit, and that's why.
What color was her spit up?
It was foamy and brown. So I thought maybe it was the oatmeal and the fruit mixed in there.
So where was the spit up at?
The side of her mouth, the side of her face.
And was that, did you think, I don't know, was it food? Was it blood?
No, it wasn't blood.
It was not blood?
No,
She didn't have any kind of vomiting of blood or anything like that?
No, never.
Okay.
We would have taken to her doctor if that
yeah.
ever happened.
So you were certain it was food?
Yes, because that's what...
And it was on the side, it was on what side of her face?
Her right side.
Her right side, okay. And then that's when you noticed that she was unresponsive? Was this morning when you saw that? And what happened next?
Excuse me. Her eyes were open.
Did anything else look strange other than obviously the spit up and that her eyes were open? Or other than that, did she look as usual?
She's just cold.
Okay.
So I went in to get Seth. And I told him, it's an emergency. And he's like, and I was just so shocked, and he reminded me I knew CPR, and he told me to start. So I took her from the bed and I put her on her changing table, and I started CPR, and I did the 2-finger touch on the chest, just because if you use your whole hand, you could break ribs, and I just didn't want to do that, that's for sure.
I know this is tough.
So I did a 2-finger touch on the chest and her back, and I wiped her mouth, and I did.
So you did this on on the kitchen table?
No, the changing table.
On the changing table in the bedroom.
Yes.
So you said you did it on her mouth, and then you wiped her mouth.
I wiped her mouth first because it was the spit up. And now that I think about it, I think it was banana and oatmeal. You know when banana's been sitting out and it's very ripe?
Oh, yeah.
It gets that like brownish color.
Yeah.
But ripe banana's very sweet, and she eats the oatmeal better with it.
So what did you wipe her mouth with?
A baby wipe, a lavender-scented baby wipe.
Okay. And then you did what with that?
I threw it in the garbage.
Okay.
Well, not immediately, no. I just wiped her and put it to the side.
Just wiped her into it? No. Yeah.
Right next on the changing table.
And then you picked her up out of the bed?
Yes. And then I put her on the changing table, and then when I was pumping her chest, there was like bubbles, bubbles coming out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe that's why I thought she choked. And then maybe if I kept pumping, like, it would, like, maybe it would come out, and then she'd, like, cough and wake up. So I just kept wiping the bubbles, and I was giving her air and giving her, pumping with my finger, just my 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should have done more.
Nope, you were doing it right.
And she was still so cold, and I think maybe 10 minutes, it's so hard to gauge time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, Seth was with me the whole time, and he's just asking me, is she dead? Is she gone? While he's crying, just asking me, is she gone? And it's just so hard to say yes, and I just said yes. She's just unresponsive. And then we had no idea what to do then, at all. Like, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And so he called his parents, or he called his dad first, excuse me, and his dad said, okay, your mom and I are on our way, call the police, let them know what happened, and we'll try and get there before they do. And then we just spent the entire time on the couch, waiting and crying. We did sleep. It was just, my mother-in-law doesn't like dirty houses.
Mm-hmm.
They just swept the floor for her, but I don't know why. Well, who cares? Why would we?
So this morning you found her about 9 o'clock, and is that what time you woke up?
No, I woke up at around 7. The kids are very consistent with their wake-up time at 7.
And she's always up at 7?
Yes, except when she's going through a growth spurt, she'll sleep in until about 9 or 10.
Okay.
Which is why I went to check in on her at 9, and I wondered why she wasn't up yet.
Okay.
But last night when I came home, I opened the door just a tad so we could make that noise, and
Yesterday you finished feeding her at 2:30.
yeah.
And you put her to bed at 2:30, and that was the last time you saw her because you went to work then.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you came home at 11:30, and when you opened the door, you saw movement from her.
Mhm.
You're certain you saw movement from her?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Or else I would have said.
So, did you go any further into that room other than just looking through the door?
No,
The crack in the door?
I did not.
Was it the hole in the door or the crack in the door that you looked at?
It was a hole in the door. I didn't open the door completely. I just pushed it enough so it would make the noise. It's a very old, creaky door. So I pushed it enough. It makes the noise. It doesn't open the door completely. And she nudges because she hears it. And I just peek at her. I see her moving. And she's...
When you say that you saw her moving, how did you see her move? Can you describe that?
She was laying on her back still. Her blanket wasn't kicked off, and I only wrapped it right around the knees down to her feet to keep her feet warm. And she had her polar bear, but she likes to play with her polar bear before she goes to bed, so she kicked it off to the side. She was laying on her back. Her head was turned to the left side a bit. So when I pushed the door open, she jerked her arm a little and turned her head. So I could see that her eyes were so closed. She was squinting a bit, like, what was that? And then it's okay, and that's what she does.
And what time would that have been?
Around 11:30, 11:45, like, we'll just say 11:30. Because I came home, I was still in my uniform. I came home and I brought lemonade home and a burger, and I just set it down at the table and I looked inside, and I did that, and then she was fine. And then I went into the room with Seth.
So, but she went to bed at 3. Wouldn't it be odd? Wouldn't it be odd, like for Seth, that she's still in bed when he went to bed? Because she's in bed at. I mean, she went to sleep at 2:30.
She's done this before, and so have our other kids, which is why we thought if she's sleeping, we're gonna let her sleep.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but you saw her and we saw her, and she's tiny.
Tatiana, we're all parents in this room, okay? And we all need to be honest. Do you remember in the car when I first talked with you and I told you that at the end of the day, we all need to know exactly, right? Okay, so we need to tell her story, okay? And I want you to think about this for a minute. I want you to think for a second and put yourself in our shoes. You're the police officer. You're the police detective. You get called out to that home today. You get called to my home or his home today, okay? You, the police officer. And then you have to go into that house and you have to look at that precious little angel, okay? Do you think she was healthy, honestly?
When you look at her size, and you can see every single bone in her body, do you think she was healthy?
We know this isn't easy, Tatiana, but we need to know what happened to her. What was going on?
So when did she start losing all that weight?
For the past 2 days.
But she's lost so much weight that you can't lose that much in 2 days. I've never seen a child that skinny. Never. And here's the thing. You're obviously a very concerned mom, but at what point did you know, what point did you think something was wrong? Because I know that you knew something, or you thought something wrong. You are an intelligent, educated woman. And at some point, you felt something was wrong.
It's not until recently. I had so much, maybe it was just delusional hope that she was getting bigger and our cheeks were getting fuller and she was just so happy and playful. And then just these past couple days.
So at what point did she can't even weigh 8 pounds right now. She doesn't weigh 8 pounds. When's the last time that you actually inspected her, that you looked at her? Tell me the truth.
Every time when I change her, and I think I just may have been just so blinded.
What were you blinded by? Because I know, listen, you are an intelligent, articulate, college-educated, early childhood development. You know when you look at someone that something's wrong. I have a picture of her right here. I'm prepared to show you. That tells you no medical treatment. As dumb as I am, I'm not near as intelligent as you. I can't speak the words you can speak. I am not you. And even I can look at this photo and I can say, whoa, something's wrong. It put tears in our eyes when we walked in there. It was that obvious.
Tatiana, I'm going to be quite honest with you right now, okay? One parent to another, right? And I'm going to try and control my emotions, all right? I've been to a child death investigator school, and I've seen photos and images of children that have been malnourished. And I'm telling you right now, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh no, really?
Yes.
Oh.
You clearly need help too, though.
You're going to be dealing with this. This is baggage. This is something that... But all I want to know is what stopped you from seeking help? You knew something was wrong. What stopped you? Tell us the truth.
I mean, are you guys that financially strapped? I mean, what is it? Do you not believe in health care? Do you have religious beliefs? I mean, what is it?
We do have religious beliefs, and we were praying about it, and we have faith that.
When did you start praying about it?
I mean, when she was born, but consistently and heavily the past 4 days.
So 3-4 days ago, you started praying. What were your prayers?
Please help her gain weight. She's eating wise and it's sticking. She ate so much.
But so why
wouldn't it stick?
I have a strong faith as well, a very strong faith, and I think God answers prayers. I'm with you on that. I also think God puts people in places to help people, but we all have our own beliefs. But here's what I'm saying is that you guys knew enough was wrong to start heavily and consistently praying. Why didn't we seek help? You knew.
I just didn't
No.
say anything to Seth.
Seth had to know? He doesn't ever hold her?
Yes, but he was also very faithful and trust in God and trust that it would be okay, and didn't think we needed to bring her to a doctor.
You knew.
How long did you know this?
What the condition? It doesn't happen in 3 days. It doesn't happen in 4 days.
I think I just deluded myself. I just didn't want to believe that.
So when did you delude yourself? When did you start? When did this condition start?
I think within a month it started to become, it was a bit up and down. Her cheeks would be full and bright, and then a couple days later she would look ill or hungry, and then, or not hungry, just her cheeks wouldn't be as full as they were.
Shrunken in.
Yeah, and then.
So when did you notice that she had all her bones showing?
About a month.
About a month ago.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time you bathed her?
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
So about a month ago, you noticed that her bones are all showing, right? And so, is that when you started heavily praying?
No, it was the past few days, because about a month ago it would be full, and then 2 days later it would be sunken in, but then within the day it'd be full again. But then the past few days it wouldn't fill up as quickly as it did.
But listen, here's what I'm saying, Mary. Listen, I get that, but her legs were as small as my pointer finger. So that didn't happen in 3 days.
No.
And I know that you know that, and I know that you wanted to get her help, but I'm trying to just figure out, when did this happen? I understand that maybe you started seeing some kind of symptoms a month ago, but when did she consistently lose all of this weight? When did she consistently become skin and bones?
I think it was within the month. Because she was always just so thin, and
so within a month. So then why, when we had a month to look at her like this, why didn't we get help?
We thought she'd get better without getting help.
How did you think she was going to get better?
By feeding her and being with her.
Was she really truly eating the way that you were telling us?
Yes.
Because if you want, he has a photo of her, and if you want to see it, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I explained this to both you and Seth when you were in my car with me. There's going to be an autopsy done, okay? And there was a person from the medical examiner's office at the house, okay?
So we're gonna know all this, what we're saying.
Yeah.
But, and you're not a bad person. We get all this, and we get that there's a dynamic here that we're trying to figure out. There is a dynamic here. I'm gonna tell you, I know it. I know there's a dynamic, and I feel that you wanted to get her help. I'm trying to just figure out why you didn't. What's the dynamic? What am I missing? Because you can't tell me that this Brooklyn, New York, this New York college, city college educated, Grand Rapids Community College, early childhood person didn't know that this girl needed help, but something stopped her. I'm trying to figure out what it is. what stood between you and help?
I think that I was worried about another CPS call from the doctors, and I thought that Mary would get better and it would be okay.
But at what point did you get better?
About 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, 2 days.
So 2-3 days ago you thought she wasn't going to get better, so then why didn't we call then? What?
Because I thought that I was being doubtful, and
You thought you were being doubtful of Christ?
Yes. I thought I was lessening in my faith, and I just...
Is that what Seth thought too?
That I was being doubtful?
No, I want to know, out of you two, which one of you wanted to go to take her to the doctor?
I know he didn't, and I didn't for a long time, until recently it just became a little thought in my head that maybe we should, and then I was worried about CPS and about just losing faith. We've had issues with CPS before, and I just didn't want to lose this kid.
So you thought you were losing faith by thinking you needed to go to the doctor?
That I wasn't having faith in God to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel stupid about it now.
That's what we're trying to figure out. Do you think? And I'm not ridiculing this. I just want to know. Do you guys think that God doesn't want us to use doctors?
No.
So do you think God puts people in places to help us?
Yes, I do. I believe that for sure.
And you think doctors could be those people?
Yeah.
So, all still, I get what you're saying, but this is what I'm telling you. 2 days ago, I could have looked at this child and I could have said, this child has hours to live. Two days ago, I could have looked at this child and I probably would have thought this child has minutes to live. 2 days ago, if I'd have seen this child in your hands, being a stranger at Meyer, I'd have snatched this child out of your hands and faced the consequences. That's what I'm trying to reason with, is that but you didn't receive the help, and you knew that 2 days ago, you just said that she was probably, what did you say, beyond help, or whatever it was 2 days ago. So what?
It's not beyond help.
At what point in this illness did you think there's a good chance she's going to die?
I didn't think at all that she was going to die.
How could you not think that?
Delusional. I don't have a reason why I could think that. I was just being such a hopeful mom. I suppose I don't have a good reason for you. I'm sorry.
What was your conversations like with Seth?
You said a minute ago that you knew that he didn't want to go to a doctor.
Yeah, because we discussed it before. That we just
discussed her conditions?
Yes.
When was the first time you guys discussed that?
Maybe a month ago.
So a month ago is when. What did you notice a month ago? Because I'm certain you're the one, because you said that Seth didn't want to go. So obviously you're the one that brought up needing to go to the doctor. What did you notice a month ago?
That she was almost 9 months old and just wasn't filling into her clothing like she should, and we talked about it, and you just have faith, and we'll keep feeding her like we do, and keep nursing her, and keep her active, and she'll get there. It's okay, she'll get there.
But let me ask you something. If Seth told you that God told him to sacrifice one of your children, would you do it?
No.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. How many conversations did you have with Seth about this?
Not very many. Maybe 2 at most, just because we didn't want to worry about it. We trusted God, and
Would he get angry talking about it?
no, I think he'd be very sad.
What would happen? How would he react if you took her to the doctor anyway?
I'm not sure. Something like that has never happened.
I'm just asking you to speculate.
I think he would just be concerned that CPS would be called, but not angry. Just say, okay, just know that you took to the doctor. Expect CPS to come to the house.
He's not an angry type person.
No.
How is he as far as emotional goes?
He's not afraid to cry. I'll just say that.
Does he cry a lot? Would you say that he wears his emotions on his sleeve?
I suppose. I mean, when we were going through our marriage, the beginning of it, and he was very expressive about about his feelings and how he would like to be treated and how I wasn't, treating him well, and then in return told me he realized that he wasn't being a respectful husband and wasn't treating me well either. So he's very intuitive and expressive, which is rare, I suppose.
So today at 9 o'clock, you found Mary deceased. What time were we called?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Was it 11?
Yeah, it was like a long time. Why?
We called my in-laws first, and
The time that the sheriff's department was called to respond to your house was at 12:06.
that's when they came. That's when they were called.
That's when 911 was called.
That's when 911 was called. Was 12:06.
3 hours and 6 minutes later.
My father-in-law said to wait until they were close, because they live an hour away, to wait until they were close before we called police so we can get there at the same time.
That would explain 1 hour. What about the other 2 hours and 6 minutes of waiting?
I think that we were in such a state of shock that we just didn't know what to do.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you ever look at how tiny and sunken and skeletal she looked and say, we're in trouble?
Yeah, I think actually it came across my mind today.
Did you guys have a discussion about it?
No.
Did he say anything to you about that?
No.
Did you?
Why did it come across your mind? What were you thinking? Is that why it took so long to call 911? I've never worked a case that's taken that long to call 911.
This has just never happened before, or with anyone we knew, or we waited for a response from my father-in-law to see what his advice was. We had no idea what to do. And he said, yes, you should call the police. We're on our way. Wait until we're close.
But even by your father-in-law, he wasn't even called until around approximately 10:30 to 10:45. So we're still looking at an hour and a half.
It may have been after 9 then, because that is a very long time, and it did not feel that long at all. It must have been just before 10 then. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong time.
No. You're not expected to check your watch every time you go check something. We're not holding you to all those times.
I know it was before 10, but it was definitely after 9. That is an excessively long time to just stand around there.
That's so. All right, let's even just give the benefit of the doubt and say it's 10.
Okay.
That's 10 o'clock. So, because like you said, you know it was before 10, but we'll just play it safe and say it was 10.
Okay.
And so 10 o'clock rolls around. You check everything. You did CPR for about 10 minutes, according to what you told me. So then, what'd you do for the next 2 hours? Because that's still.
While we waited?
Yeah. Before you called us, you waited for 2 hours before we got called.
We waited for my in-laws to come. We were trying to contact them. And then we got a response.
Well, we were trying to contact them. Was that like a long process to get a hold of them?
I actually don't know. I'm sorry. Seth was the one that contacted them. I didn't.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I don't know how long it took, if any time at all. I was just very distraught.
So you said you slept. What else? What other kind of house cleaning did you do? Because you said your mother-in-law doesn't like a dirty house.
The kids, just to distract them, I just had them clean their room, put your toys away, and...
Did they know what was going on?
We told them, but I don't...
So then they cleaned their rooms, and then what did you and Seth do?
Slept, and then we hugged and cried, and we just sat on the couch and just were silent.
But you know, there's just some odd thing. Obviously, you know this case is odd, and you never once expressed to Seth that, hey, this isn't good. Look at her.
No, I didn't.
Did he ever even make a comment about her body? You guys looked at her, and he never said anything about it.
No.
You know how he described her to us on the phone? You can listen to the 911. He described her as, nope, she's dead as a doornail.
He gets like that when he's very, very upset. He's just distraught, and I cried, and yeah, he cries, but he tries to be strong for everyone.
Let me ask you a question. You had been through some training or early childhood development schooling and stuff like that, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever receive or go through any kind of like CPR training or anything like that?
I have, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If you were driving down the road, kids are in the back seat in their car seats, and you're driving down the road, and you witness a car accident, what are you going to do? And there's people that are bloody there at the scene. What are you going to do?
And my kids are with me in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's space for me to pull over, I'd pull over. I would check to see if anyone's responsive, and then I'd call the police so I can let them know what was going on. And if there's something I could do, I'd try, but I know that if there's any sort of injury that I'm not familiar with, I can't move the body.
Okay, so you know that you can call 911, right?
Yes.
So then why not call 911 immediately when your child's not moving? That's what I don't understand.
I think because it happened to me personally, it was my little girl. I just, in shock. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you. I was just so, never could imagine that could happen.
Jason and I have been doing this a long time, and I understand, and I've seen it time and time again, everybody deals with stress and reacts to things differently. But if there's one thing that I've seen in the course of doing this job for a long time is there's usually never hesitation to pick up the phone and call 911. That is a pretty ingrained, rapid, basic, life-saving response that is ingrained in everybody, especially in our country because of our emergency medical system that we have.
When did you first teach your kids about 911? When did you first teach your children about 911?
Less than a year ago.
Okay. So when you're doing CPR, you don't scream to Seth, call 911.
No. And I know that that's like the second step, or the first step actually. What?
Did you think by calling 911 that he would think your faith was less?
No, not at all actually.
Okay.
He called his dad first. Wiping the spit up from her face, and then he went to contact his parents. I don't know how long that took. I was just after she wasn't responding, I was just sitting there rocking her. I don't know for how long. I have no idea for how long. And then after he got off the phone with his dad said, okay, wait until we are close, and then call the police so we can get there at the same time they do, so we can help with anything, I suppose, legally.
So, the 2+ hours of time that went by from discovery till 911, all I know, and I'm just asking if you can think of anything else, all I know of is 10 minutes of CPR and sitting on the couch and sweeping the house. Is there any other activity that occurred? Again, some of the stuff is just so weird, we're just trying to make sense of it.
I understand. If I were in your position, I wouldn't understand it either, and I'm having trouble gauging it as well. I spent quite some time just holding her and just rocking her, and then I put her back down in her bed, and I put her blanket on her, and then I just checked on the kids, make sure they were cleaning the room, and then...
Did you put any additional clothing on her when you put her back in the crib?
No, I didn't.
So what was in the crib is exactly what was in there. You didn't change anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. By clothing, I just assumed you meant what she was wearing on her. That was left on her. I covered her up fully, and I added her little head blanket.
What do you mean you covered her fully? With clothing or a
with
blanket?
a gray blanket.
Okay.
Was that blanket in the crib prior or not?
Yes, up to her knees. I wrap it around her knees down to her feet, just so there's no chance of over the head pulling. Yeah. She's never done that before anyway.
And what about this thing that you were talking about, the head pillow or whatever? Where was that at?
It was just a comfy blanket. It was on the side on the rocking chair.
So that's the only thing that wasn't in the crib? Was that one?
Yeah. And she had her polar bear in there, but it was by her feet.
So, when you were going through school, Jason was talking about the hitting on the CPR and stuff like that. Did you receive, what other kind of like developmental training did you receive getting your education in childhood development?
Physical,
nutrition,
yeah.
all that. What else?
Meal plans. In terms of how much. That's why I should be eating, and I was happy with how much she was eating. She was eating so much. That's why this is such a surprise to me. And is there an actual condition that prevents weight gain?
Did you ever Google that?
No. Maybe. Maybe I did and I didn't find anything. Because I would probably know, and if a doctor was...
You would have found a lot, I think, if you Googled it. I think you'd have found a lot on that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that you realize too much on WebMD and Google as a parent instead of actually going to a doctor? It's just an opinion question. I'm just curious.
I do.
Because you've kind of brought that up a couple times, and I'm just wondering.
If I replace it.
What? Yeah, I mean, do you kind of try to self-diagnose your children instead of taking them to a doctor? You just look it all up on WebMD and Google and try and figure it out yourself, or?
No, I do that more for myself. The only thing I actually to feed whatever age she was at the time to help her gain more weight. And potatoes, etc.
So when you were going through early childhood development education, was that to be a teacher or a preschool teacher or daycare owner, operator type? That's for, right?
Yeah, it was to be a preschool teacher.
So I know I'm sure this was addressed. So what are some of the things they told you to look out for if you did have a student that came to school and had a failure to thrive type case?
Not eating.
What physical characteristics?
Thin bones.
Like sunken in cheeks?
Ribs
showing. Thin arms.
Yeah.
Did you see those things in your own child?
Yes.
So when you went through this education and and they told you to look out for that stuff, what was supposed to be your plan of action if you ever saw a child come to school like that?
It's called Child Protective Services.
Because you had a what to report? You'd have a duty, right?
Yes.
Did you, but you didn't help your child?
No. I thought I was helping her by feeding her and nursing her and playing with her.
But 2 to 4 days ago, you knew it was really bad. Tuesday, you knew it was really bad. And so that is what prompted you more than ever to be checking and looking to make sure she wiggles when you move a door, and because of how she looks.
I did it every day regardless.
You did?
That matters.
Okay, yeah, it does matter, absolutely.
Every day, every night.
Nobody, Tatiana, for 1 second, I don't want you to think that anybody is trying to say that you didn't love your child.
No.
Okay? But I am going to be blatantly honest with you. You didn't provide the necessary care for your daughter. You didn't.
Do you think you did?
And we're just trying to figure out why.
Do you think you did right?
It's a very hard question to answer because she's dead. She'll know that I tried. I fed her so
But what
much.
stopped you? Truly, what stopped you?
From what?
From getting her help a month ago. Was it embarrassment? Was it fear? Was it? What was it?
I think it was fear of CPS. I think that I just thought that I was overreacting, and it was just all in my head because I tend to overthink things when it's not necessary, and I just thought there was another one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And our other 2 children are just so healthy, and or am I delusional about that too? Like,
I don't know. I
as far as they appear, I mean
What?
But here's the difference, though. You just said it right there. You just said it. As far as they appear. But we know it hasn't appeared healthy. So that it's not a delusion. It's an observation that your other 2 children clearly appear healthy, right? And clearly didn't. That's comparing apples and oranges. So it shows that your observations were working. You weren't delusional. You know that these 2 appear healthy and this one didn't. So we need to go get this one fixed. Figure out what's wrong with her.
I thought we had more time for her to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this: Did you plan on having each of your children?
No.
No.
We knew we were having unprotected sex, and we knew we were going to have a baby from it. We just weren't saying, okay, this day we're going to make the child, and she will be born this day.
Right. But
Real. Oops.
Tasha, I hate to interrupt. We have to step out real quick, though. Can we get you a water or anything? Well, we're just going to slide over real quick and talk to Seth and just confirm some of the stuff.
I'm sure you guys.
He's sitting on ice right now, probably wondering what in the world's going on. So.
do you need to use the restroom as well?
I suppose I should. It's been quite some time.
All right, just know we'll get you some water while you're using the bathroom. I'll walk you to the bathroom. I'll get you some water. Just know that we're going to be down. So as long as we've been in here with you, you're probably going to be sitting in here. We're going to be down there talking to him. So that way, at least you're not wondering what's going on. It's just we're talking to him, trying to get his side of this now. Okay?
Are we in trouble?
We don't know that. You guys are going home the same way you came. We told you that. You're not being arrested. All we're doing is we're just information gathering. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that, no, you're not in trouble, because I don't know that yet. This whole case has to still be reviewed. There's a whole process that has to go through. Hey, put her letter down real quick. We're going to get another detective in here to escort you down there real quick, okay? Just because it's a secured facility, Larry. All right.
In June 2020, Seth Welch was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In November 2021, Tatiana Fusari was also sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder. She was additionally sentenced 15 to 30 years on the charge of first-degree child abuse.